What's up, everybody? It's Mr. Straight Facts. This is the Mr. Straight Facts Show. So today has been filled with a lot of things. I'm not going to cover everything because it's just nuts. I want to start off by saying what we're not talking about. The prices of eggs are still up. There's no trade deals. Supposed to have up to 90 coming up soon, right? We have talks with China for the last couple of days, but not about our tariff situation, but about rare earth minerals, in which China has us by the short hairs for. But Howard Lutnick, Mr. Dipshit himself, supposedly we got something coming in down the pike. They always say that. It never comes to fruition. Again, they have us by the short hairs when it comes to that, not the other way around. They own our debt, not the other way around, to the tune of almost 800 billion, 700 something billion they own of our bonds, which we owe them with interest, not the other way around. Epstein files have not been released, right? In the next few months, because of these high tariffs, because you haven't witnessed it yet, but they're coming. Everything that Donald Trump and his minions promised their American citizens, those ones that voted for him, have not come to fruition. So what has he done? He's went full MAGA on these immigrants, because I can't feed them the money, so let me feed them the hate. I can't fulfill my promise with the money. In fact, I reneged on it. As soon as I got in, short-term pain, long-term gain. He never told you anything like that. As soon as I get in office, the price is going to go down. And that's the reason why some of them voted for him. The other ones voted because of the hate. And therefore, if you can't give them their money, then give them the hate. That group of people are excited about what Donald Trump is doing. They're loving every minute of him destroying these people's lives. In fact, they're building more and more prisons. And you know, the prisons in which they're putting most of these people in are private prisons. What got me to thinking today is that how is it that what Donald Trump is doing, like sending these military men and women to Los Angeles. I live in Los Angeles. There ain't nothing going on here. If you look at the news, it reminds me of something because, you know, I moved to Los Angeles from Indiana. And people I grew up with in Indiana, still connected. My mom was there now in Mississippi. Other family members were there. And from all over the United States in different areas on the East Coast or Midwest, who don't have earthquakes or anything of that nature, or, you know, fires like we do, or like the protests that we can have out here. Whenever something happens, my mom and people who aren't aware of California, how big it is, will call me. Oh, I heard there was an earthquake. Never mind the fact they said it was in Northern California. They call me and be like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, dude, I'm like 200 miles away from that. 300 something miles away from it, to be honest. That's near San Francisco. I'm in Southern California, not Northern, but that's okay. Thank you." That's what it reminds me of. Donald Trump and his minions out here telling people like America, like California is burning down, and it is a small section of a small part of Los Angeles in the southern area, but on the east side of Los Angeles somewhat, where a lot of East LA, if you've ever been here, is mostly a Latin community. It's mixed with everybody, but it's representative of the Latin community, not as a whole, but that's area where a lot are mostly at, right? They're all over the place, but that's the point. It's just a small part of even the East Los Angeles, which is big. So if you were to think in your town, think of one of the smallest towns in your state that they had some kind of big issue, and he's going to send the military for a small amount of people. It is the dumbest thing ever. I understand that people aren't wise to how big California is. I get it. But do some research. Go look at it. You can fit a lot of the states in the United States in California. They're talking about maybe having an insurrection act. For what? There were more people in Washington, D.C. destroying the House, the Capitol on January 6th. By far, there are more people who were sitting outside of January 6th being peaceful than there are the people in all of East Los Angeles where they were. Way more. But this is an insurrection, possibly. It's nonsensical. But that's what they want you to believe. They want you to be afraid. They want those people who have no freaking clue living in a remote place. And it's fine to live in these remote places. It's very calming, wonderful, family oriented, really tight knit. People know each other, even if you live farther away. If you have farms, if you're that rural, or if you're more into the city and you're not as big as California, fine. But learn what it's about, as opposed to just listening to these idiots. They're literally telling you that it's going crazy, but you see that on the news. You see this right here? That's the screen. That's how much you're seeing. That's it. That little small amount. And they're blowing it up. Fox, all them Republicans, making it seem like hell is like froze over. Shit's about to happen. They're going to need to send bombs here pretty soon. It's like World War III going on. And if you see those videos, you see like one area where people are doing that. One freeway. California is vast. Vast, y'all. It ain't even talking about the full, like if you got a small town or your city, I'm from Indiana, if you think like the east side of Indiana, it's still way bigger than this small little area in East LA. It is just a little small area. But see, those pictures carry a lot of fear for these people. They already had fear. So this just validates it. And for those people, I don't know whether you were Latin, white, Asian, black, whatever, who started these particular things with these police officers, please stop it. You're giving them validation to harm your people even more. Do it peacefully. That way you own the narrative and they don't own the narrative. You're doing these for the right reasons, but then you got these idiots within a peaceful group of people. The majority of them are peaceful. It is the small amount that I'm speaking to. Stop it, bro. Stop it, sis. I don't know if it was women or men. I just had to say both. Stop it. Because doing that little amount, you fuck it up for everybody. You become the attention. You become the reason why they harm more of your people. You become the reason why they unload rubber bullets on people when everybody else is peaceful and trying to get this message across. You're not the main attention. If you want to do something like commit a crime, take your ass in some other community where it is crime going on and hurt each other. But leave these people the fuck alone. It is not your mission to come out here and take over the narrative. I understand you mad. Go to a gun range and shoot something that's not living. Go in a boxing ring and fight each other. Get that tension out. But when we're trying to do something to make a movement, the most powerful thing you can do is stand there and talk about the issue at hand that you want to change. Don't let them take your narrative away. You're fighting for your people. And by doing what you're doing, you're taking away from your people. You're invalidating your people. Even though it was a small amount, that small amount took the narrative. That small amount was on the news the most. Wake the fuck up when you do this. No matter what race, wake up. The mission, straightforward, is to be powerful. It's not supposed to be painful, powerful. There's power in numbers. There's power in these chants that you have. There's power in organization. There's power in being in numbers, but there's no power. You take it away. Now, don't get me wrong. I know these hateful people will infiltrate your group and start some crazy shit, and they're really Trump supporters. I know it. Their narrative is to do that, if not paid to do so. But once you see that, disperse. Come back another day. Let those fools fight on their own. I know what you're there for, but once they do that, leave. Let them know that is not you. Once you stay, you become a part of the problem. Leave and let those few get arrested, bounce, come back the next day until it's a peaceful event when you get there and it's a peaceful event when you come back. If anybody fucks over the line, it's the police officers, it's the military. So then the pictures will be them harming innocent people who are doing innocent things because of their own rights. Let them be the demonic ones. Stop fighting the wrong way. This is not the way to do it. And I understand there was peaceful people. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to those knuckleheads. If you get to see this, calm the fuck down. You're fucking up the mission. You're not helping it. Take your anger somewhere else. You can be mad and say what you have to say. You don't have to fight back. Let them be the aggressor. If you're trying to do what black people show the world how to do, I know people always say, oh, we should have went the way of Malcolm X. I am one who don't believe that. Why do I say that? Because there would have been a lot of dead black people. The narrative would have been, we started it. We didn't have cell phones back then. There would have been a bunch of dead black people saying they started it. And who would have believed that we didn't back then? No, that way would have had us mostly killed. And some of you may have thought, okay, it was good. I'm no longer living with this racism. I'm gone. But that still wouldn't have solved your mission. The ones who would have been left behind would have still had the same problem. Even worse, because now that you did that and got unalive, we would be seen as villains who stayed alive. We would have had more problems. See, no, Martin Luther King was smarter about it. Calmer heads prevail. Why do I say he was smarter? Because here's the thing. Us being calm, us being the ones who were in our Sunday, there's a reason why you had your Sunday stuff on. You're closer to God. When you saw the Sunday suit, our Sunday best, when we could only have like maybe one Sunday suit, they knew we meant business when we put on suits that we could only afford one of. It let you know how much we were dedicated. It let you know that we had just left God to go do the Lord's work by walking and saying that we should be free. That's what we were doing. And so doing that, you saw men and women coming straight from God being beat by demons and being spread throughout the world. Who was the real animal? It was these racist white people beating, putting dogs, putting water, slapping us, and we were being peaceful. You see, the picture showed that we were more godlike and they were more devilish. The vision of good versus evil. Not evil versus evil. Good versus evil. See, he beat the narrative. He made black people look like the victim, which we were, in which they want us to look like the aggressor, which they say we are, which people believe more. But when you witness it with your own eyes and you see the demon has the color of whiteness as opposed to blackness, that's when the world starts to wake the fuck up. I'm like, these people were being peaceful. You're the bad one. And that's when the world saw it. The news carried it. And that's when they made a decision to have the civil rights law signed in. Because they wanted to get that stank off of them. You got to find leverage to be able to change shit. Mano a mano just keeps the war going. Just like you have the Christians and Protestants, you have all the different wars keep going on for hundreds of years. Still going on now. Because it's that mano a mano shit. You have to create leverage. And if you're out there protesting, the leverage is you stay calm. Let them fucking cross the line. And with the advent of cameras, the news goes out around the world faster than the news could actually report it. You become the person who has the leverage. They become the demonic ones. You start to win. That's how you win. I understand it feels good to get back mano a mano, But that's not a way of winning in the world we live in. Stop fighting these people. Stop destroying property. Because it's only a few, but the rest of the people out there get that stigma. Bounce once somebody does that. There's no need to stick around because they've already demonized you. And if you didn't take part in it, it doesn't matter. The news have already spread that one incident, even though there's tens of thousands or at least thousands that didn't do a damn thing. 4 people may have done something. The whole narrative from the news, especially Fox, but throughout the mainstream, was cars on fire, rocks being thrown at police cars off the freeway. Those things took the narrative. Learn to fight the right way so that the narrative is them being demonic, them being over aggressive. See, they want you to be aggressive so they can say, hey, we got to have martial law because we got to take control of these people. They don't know what they're doing. We have got to take control back. They can throw that fear to the American people, which I told you before, have no clue how small this really was compared to how much we have, because in their town, it may be 75,000 people. If there are 10,000 people in LA, shit, that's a baby amount of what's going on in LA. But compared to these small towns, shit, 10,000 people is their town. So they think it's the whole town would have went freaking off. You got to think so that you can have a narrative that shows that you are the one that's being harassed. The pictures you should have seen was them grabbing these babies and putting them in handcuffs and searching their pockets. That should have been the majority of what you were seeing, not you knuckleheads fighting. So the narrative of what's happening and what's going on was overshadowed by a couple of knuckleheads. I understand the anger and the frustration, but focus on a mission, on what you're going to do when you go out there, and stick to it. If you see somebody about to do something, talk them down. Don't join in. I understand that anger, that frustration, but it ain't going to solve jack. You're going to jail, and innocent people who were in the way will get shot by these bullets, rubber bullets, will get harmed, get trampled, get ran over or hit by cars because your knucklehead ass figured that you were going to be able to do something by throwing a rock. That's not how you solve these problems. That's how you create more of them. That's how you take away the power from something. If you got 10,000 people there and you do it peacefully, that's a big power. That's big energy. You steal that away from them by throwing a rock. You steal that away from them. You destroy the mission. And there's no reason to stay in. You must leave then, because the mission is no longer about what they're doing wrong. It's about how you reacted wrong. Understand the narrative. Understand your mission and stick to it like a soldier. Don't let anybody put you off your point. Keep sticking to it. Say what you have to say. Stand strong, stand tall. Let them be the aggressor. Don't fight back. Let them have the pictures of them being demonic, evil, destructive. And that narrative will be something that will give leverage, because the rest of the world will see, something's wrong with these leaders. The rest of Americans will see it's the leaders' fault, not the people who are out there fighting against what the leader's doing. They'll see fascism instead of democracy. See, that is what they're doing, fascism. But are we talking about fascism? No, we're talking about these people being disruptive. Giving Donald Trump and his minions validation. Remember, this is Project 2025. They already organized for years. They're doing this to piss off Americans so that they can get martial law, and therefore Donald Trump can be president forever fucking long he wants to. No more elections. The Republican senators and the House, they'll be in their positions forever. That's what they want. And they're waiting for liberal states to cause this problem. They can't do it with a red state. It'll defeat the purpose. They got to get liberal states because they've gotten these red states to hate us. So the people that you already hate because they don't gave you all the meat that you need, the red meat to hate on these people anyway, now they done set you up. They throw this raw meat at you and you're just going to jump at it to be able to destroy a liberal, even though it's destroying your own constitution, your own rights. You already voted against your own best interests, but this hate for liberals, this hate for the blue states is going to get you again to vote for against your own interests. You think it's going to be just taken away from Californians, but the Constitution is us all. We're all wrapped into that flag. And you can't just take one piece out of the fucking flag. Once you set it ablaze, it's gone for all of us, not just for the blue team. The red team's gone too. All of these people are on some kind of autocratic team. From Mike Johnson, who said that the governor of California should be tarred and feathered. For what? For not wanting you in his state, causing a ruckus for something that is so small that our police force could easily handle and did easily handle because it's such a small space. It wasn't big and it wasn't even growing. But you're going to send your people there on the day after when there wasn't any unrest. But your people are there looking like we're a military state. That's ridiculous. And to keep them there. Today, Pete Hegseth said what? We're going to be there for 60 days. Why on earth are you here for 60 days? People won't be protesting like this for 60 days. What do you think this is, a marathon of protest? They ain't doing that. But see, for them to say that it's going to be there for 60 days, again, they're pre-planning to be snatching people for 60 days, to do some egregious shit for 60 days, which will, and they know, escalate the situation so that people will get arrested, so that people will set fires. Don't put it past them for Donald Trump and his minions to be the ones who set these fires, to keep this shit going. Don't put it past them that they don't hire some of these, Latin-looking but white nationalist-loving people to go out in mask and destroy some shit and blame it on Latin people in that state. Don't put it past them. Remember with Black Lives Matter, we found so many white and Latin people and others who were a part of the white nationalist group that were setting fires to these buildings, that were spray painting BLM all over them, and they were white as snow. Had nothing to do with it, dressed in black. We done seen it. So be aware of those types of things. Donald Trump and his minions are trying to do what I said before, martial law. And Chris Murphy came out today and said as much. We're going to listen to that here in just a second. See if I can find it, but this should be it.
The fact of the matter is, Donald Trump is not looking to create peace. He's not looking to calm the situation. He's looking for a fight. He's sending in the National Guard and the Marines to try to inflame the situation because he's looking for an excuse, likely, to be able to declare some kind of martial law.
Exactly. Looking for an excuse for some type of martial law. It's what he's planned the entire time, y'all. This should not be of any shock to anybody who read Project 2025, to anybody who listened to him on the stump preached this crap over and over again. Donald Trump didn't hide anything. He said all this crap. The only thing he hid was a connection to Project 2025. They thought that the world was going to like this shit. That's why they put it out. The first part of it. And then when people started seeing it and didn't like it, Trump had to distance himself because the ratings of this was like, nobody wants this. Most Americans do not want this. This is crazy. Then Donald Trump had to lie and say, the plan in which I put into play is not what I'm doing. And a percentage of Americans believed him because Donald Trump had them trained like Labradors and shit to what he said was true and what everybody else said was like fake news. And what's so crazy about it is those people who thought that the liberals and the people who were trying to teach them that Donald Trump was telling a lie and that we were telling the truth, now that they know Project 2025 is exactly what he wanted to put into place, why aren't you guys pissed at him for lying to you? Why aren't you calling Donald Trump fake news? Because he's the one that lied to you the entire time. He's doing exactly what Project 2025 is. He said he wasn't, that he wasn't even a part of that. And what's up with his little, he said 47 or whatever was on his website. None of those things he was talking about have come to fruition. But the Project 2025, within the first month or so, they had like 40% of it already done. All you had to do was read it. Now, y'all don't care about America. They don't care about America. They're not patriots. They're enemies of the state. They knew, they were told, and instead went the opposite way. Okay, you made a mistake there. But then you find out later that he lied to you, but you're still on that ride or die with him. And I'm like, wait a minute. He lied to you. We told you the truth, and you still hating liberals? You don't get to have it on all sides. They got like multiple sides. They don't have multiple chances to come to their Jesus moment, and they still hugging the devil. There's no benefit of the doubt there. The liberals love America. The Republicans hate it. They want to revise it and turn it into something else. You can't say you love America and go against the Constitution. You can't say that you love America and keep breaking its laws. That's not love. You can't say you love America, but yet, though, try to turn it into a monolith. See, the reality is they want all of us to think the same way, their way. They don't want a plurality of thoughts. They just want theirs. They want their Christianity, fake, by the way, a white Jesus. They want that in their church, in their schools, and all over the place, and everybody to love it. I'm like, okay, let's get back to Jesus then. So Jesus is brown. You want Jesus brown all over your schools? No. You want that fake Jesus all over your school. The fake-ass white one. That's what you want all over your schools. Are you going to ban the good book when you find out the good man was brown and not white? Are you going to ban it? Nah, you're not. Because you're still under the illusion that white people have bronze feet and woolen hair. Or delusion, for that matter. It's not true. He was a brown Jew. Simple as that. Says it in the Bible. That's the part you don't want to read or read over and act like it doesn't exist. You just thought Jesus was walking around with a tan. It's crazy how you can discount reality. Not you guys here, but these groups of people discount reality just so it can fit their own narrative. If you read the good book, you'll find what the only description of Jesus is that. The only. They've hijacked it and want you to believe in him when they don't even believe in the right one. It says in the good book that you're not supposed to have an idol outside of God. It says, I am a jealous God. If you're a jealous God, which I didn't believe that, but again, that's not me, that's the Bible, then you can't worship somebody else. That's a false idol. If that's a false idol, then you're not worshiping God. You're worshiping a false idol. Therefore, you cannot be Christian because you're not following Christ, because that man ain't Christ. You may be whoever he is in, his name might be Doug. You may be a Duggan. You may be somebody else, but you sure as hell ain't Christ, because Christ did not look like that. That dude's name is something else. Raphael. Maybe you're a Raphaelian, but you sure as hell ain't a Christian. This is not my opinion. This is the book in which I was handed as a child. It was the small little Gideon books. I still got a little red one and a green one, little small travel size ones. This is in the good book. The one they live and breathe by, but never follow. Always want to bring it up when they're trying to prove something, but have never read it to understand the context of what they're using to try and prove. Because in reality, it's not meant for what they say it is. It's meant for what they want you to make you believe by saying the good book says it, but the good book doesn't. That's the problem in this country. They want you to be a monolith. These Republicans, these so-called evangelical Christians, these white nationalists, they want you to think like them, act like them. They want to force you to want to be like them. They want to force you to say, oh, we're the top dog because we're forcing everybody to be like us. Nobody wants to be like you, white nationalists. Nobody. Nobody wants to be these scared, inferior human beings that are always worried that other people don't see them as supreme, so they got to label themselves supreme, so therefore they can even fucking believe it. Nobody wants to be you. And that's your fear. That's why you're scared, because you're not the top dog anymore. You're not even looked at as cream of the crop like y'all used to think you were. Not at all. That's the reason why you're trying to force brown people out of the country so that you can treat the other ones that are left here, the poor whites, the Latins, the black, the people who are Americans, treat them like crap and try to get them to work these jobs that these immigrants work because they believe in this country. It's so sad. These people who are not criminals are coming to our country because they see a better way. They see opportunity. They see this American dream that we hype for so many hundreds of years, right? And while they're trying to obtain it and to be in this illustrious country that we done marketed it to be the place, the shit to be at. And now you got these inferior, racist ass white men, white nationalists that are afraid that people are going to replace them, trying to destroy the luster that America has spent so many hundreds of years to become. We've come from enslaving people. We've come from, having women trapped inside of a house barefoot and pregnant. We don't come from all that shit to overcome it, and these fuckers want to take us back to it. I'm not for that. I'm for a more prosperous, more loving, more caring, more inclusive country. This whole big thing where we came together and we've made this country a better place. And you got a sector of people who put on their cruise control, decided to relax and become mediocre at best, and want everybody else to laud them for their mediocrity instead of working hard and becoming something great. They just want to be great based upon their skin color. That is so 1600 of them. We're not in the 1600s, white racist people. We are now in the 2025. And most of us, the majority of us, have left that, had looked at that as history, have learned from that, and are moving past that. And the smaller minority, which is millions, have decided to let that back into our world. That disease infested history. They're trying to bring it back to infect the world with this thing called racism and hatred, so that they once again can be on top by treating everybody else like shit because they believe their race is superior. But they don't necessarily believe it. They're trying to force it, because if they believed it, they wouldn't have to tell nobody. It'd just have to be known on sight. But on sight, we don't recognize it. So we have to see them doing devilish things. They have to do things to keep us afraid. So therefore, we're afraid of them. We don't think of them as powerful. We just think of batshit crazy enough to do something to people that most of us would not do. They think them being evil and doing the things that they would do that most people would not do makes them superior, when it makes them more like devils than anything else. None of us wants equality that way. None of us rise to that or lower ourselves to those types of standards to make ourselves stick out. Instead, we believed in the American dream, and we got a better education, and we worked hard. We fought through racism, sexism, transphobia. Gay people have come a long fucking way. They want to take you back to just walking down the street getting beat because some racist or some sexist or somebody who has a problem don't like the fact that you like the same sex. So now they can punish you for it again. They're trying to take you back there. Come on now. Ain't nobody trying to go back there. These people have an inferiority complex. They're worried about everybody, and they get people to live on their fear. Quit being such wimps. There's nothing to fear. No matter what they do, there's nothing to fear. That's where they want you to live. That's how they keep control, the fear aspect. You know what they fear? Unity. They fear their division tactics not working. That's why they put hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars behind it. Because the day that we unite and that shit, those bullshit ass terms don't work no more, that's when their ass is on the line. That's when billionaires and racists are going to feel like, well, I got to get out of the country. Because these people, they ain't fucking with us no more. They ain't fucking with this racist division shit. Once we stand together, 10 toes down on equality for all, treating each other respectfully, nobody stands on top of anybody. Everybody just lives off what they create and what they do. Unity around America. Capitalism that cares. When we can do that, which is possible, because trust me, they have that hate shit down. You ever really think about it? The reason why this stuff still exists is because they're 10 toes down on hate, and the rest of us are like 3 toes down on love. You need 7 more toes on this shit. That means to love harder and stronger. You can't tell me that this hate is beating us with 10 toes down. We ain't 10 toes down. We're too easy to believe the bullshit, the hype. It's too easy to hear one person say something that fulfills the narrative or the fear we may have in our minds and hearts to actually go on to the other side of hate, or better, the other side of love, and live there, as opposed to learning, being educated, and realizing this is some bullshit they're feeding me. Thank you, DJ. I appreciate the gift, $10. It makes them angry that they can't steal our joy. 100%. Ain't nobody stealing our joy. The only way we defeat this is through unity. And the way we create unity is start to focus on the issues at hand that we all agree upon. There are going to be some things that we disagree on. That's fine. But what are the things that we agree upon? The Constitution, democracy, loving our neighbors, treating people how we want to be treated, right? Helping anybody that we can within our own means, living with our own budget, trying to create wealth for us and our families. These are the types of things that each and every one of us wants for the most part. These are the types of things that when we recognize it's not happening for others, we need to fight for their right to have it as well as we have it. It's not a competition. We're on a mission for everybody to have their piece of this pie, and everybody can have some. There's an abundance. How can you believe in an abundant God but always think that everything's like scarce? I don't understand that. If everything's so scarce, why is it that I've been 54 years on here and I still can go somewhere and buy a whole bucket of whatever, chicken and ribs or fish, whatever? Why is it that we don't have enough, but I promise you tomorrow there's going to be food here? How is it that we have an abundance of shit but always feel like we don't have nothing? We do have an abundance. You can go to a store right now. Chickens aren't dying off. They have diseases and shit at times, but it's weird how it replenishes itself. That's because our God, our Creator, gave us an abundance. It is only man, and usually racist, sexist, highly competitive, and hateful man, human, that wants you to believe it is spare. So therefore, you always are in despair, and you never have a feeling that there is more than enough. That's why they get you to fear and say, we don't have enough money for that. These people over here want this kind of money and we can't do it to them. But yet we can dig into the crevice of our own pocket somehow and magically come up with $134 million to send the military somewhere where they don't fucking need to be. 60 days, minimum of $134 million spent on the military going somewhere they weren't asked to be. That there's no reason for them to be there other than them to show you, oh, we have might and we have power. That's it. To lie to the American people, 134 million, but you can't come out the crevices of the crack of your ass to come up with 34 million to help the poor off the street. But for nonsense, you got money. For the investigations that Republicans have had that was over stupid shit. $3, $6, $10 million. That money could go toward other people, not these bullshit ass investigations that lead nowhere. But a bunch of press conferences saying we got more coming next week. Oh, we gotta love. You're gonna love what we got to say. Then come back next week, ain't said shit. They going home with a check, feeding their families with this bullshit ass parade of investigations that don't mean nothing. And then you got people on the street they talk shit about, but can't find 3-4 million or 10 million to build a home for the homeless in their particular state or city. But you got 10 million to put people out on 134 million out of fucking nowhere. Remember, we was out trying to save money. We had Elon Musk with Doge. You remember that? That wasn't too long ago. Him trying to save so many billions of dollars, and here you are wasting 134 million of the quote unquote billions he saved. This shit makes no sense. Everybody knows it. All these investigations for nothing. All these millions of dollars of our money for nothing. When they could be putting it back into the pockets of the American people if we have excess of cash. We don't have an excess of cash. Americans should learn these politicians are lying to you. They always say we don't have enough money. If you are dense enough, let me get this down. If you are dense enough to believe that America doesn't have enough money to survive on certain things and that we have a sparing amount of money, that we're always, creeping around we're always broke, trying to figure shit out, trying to make $1 out of 15 cents, explain to me how this whole entire country shut the fuck down, not for 2 weeks, not for 2 months, for over 2 years. We were receiving checks coming out of nowhere. How do we got that money? How do we even get that money to give to everybody? How are we even able to borrow that money, wherever it came from? How do we have all this money? How do we get access to all this money to give Americans to not work? and still didn't go into recession. Got close. How do we do it? If we can give the majority of Americans in this fucking country thousands of dollars or $600 or whatever it was in these PPP loans for hundreds of dollars and millions of dollars to businesses all throughout the United States, if we can do that and ask them, and tell them, you ain't got to pay it back. Say what? A whole year of money given to you. Corporations, millions of dollars that was given to them, they ain't got to pay it back. How can we do that? And then all of a sudden, once they get back into office, these Republicans, we ain't got enough money for that. Doing good by other people, we ain't got no money for that. Say what? Didn't you take a PPP loan? Marjorie Taylor Greene? Huh? But there isn't enough money to help the poor. There ain't enough money to invest in middle-class people to start businesses, to give them subsidies so that they can start businesses and create jobs and boom the economy. There ain't enough money for that. But it's hundreds of millions of dollars in the pot to give to Elon Musk to do said thing, even though he doesn't do it. He fires people more than he hires. That's why Donald Trump hired him, remember? He was excited about how he went into Twitter and fired like entire groups of people with no reason behind it. He got sued for doing so, and he won. Donald Trump loved that. There's a phone call or something like that recorded. He was so happy. He was laughing about American jobs being lost because he didn't like that liberal Twitter had these employees. And that's when you found out that Elon Musk was leaning to the right more so than the left. He's an opportunist. I don't believe he believes in anything other than his own hype, like believing in his own hype. But then Donald Trump, again, loved that and loves the fact of being able to come into, have Elon Musk come and do Doge and destroy American lives. How can you tell me this man loves Americans when all he does is destroy? Not for himself. He builds for himself. He destroys for everybody else. That's the guy we have in the White House. The guy on the Epstein files. It kills me how you see these mainstream media people. They're so afraid to sit there and say Donald Trump's in the Epstein files. Well, there's no proof that. Shut up. I know y'all scared to get sued. Fuck all that. Fuck all that. Donald Trump has more pictures with these people than anybody else we've seen. Trust me, if Bill Clinton had more pictures with Epstein, those pictures would be all over the freaking internet. Donald Trump is in these pictures not only with Epstein, his madam, his wife Melania, even when his daughter was little. His daughter old as fuck right now. His daughter was like 12 with Jeffrey Epstein 3 feet in front of her and her dad behind him hugging her. Hello, kissing her on the forehead. Donald Trump been riding a dime with this fool since his daughter was like 10 or 12 years old. You can't tell me all those pictures with somebody. I'm going to tell you something real quick. My entire life, I've had friends for like 30, 40, hell, 50, about 40 something years. I've got like 3 pictures with them. 3. And those are relatively new. Old pictures, I think 1. This man has a bunch of photos all over the internet with him and this dude. That was his homie. You don't have that many pictures with somebody you just meet every once in a while. That's somebody you with. That's somebody you have no problem taking pictures with. How many times you and your homies say, hey man, let's take a picture together? Hey, that ain't shit. And we did. Not men. I ain't never heard no man say that. Let's take a picture together, homie. Not unless he was doing with a star. They had rehearsed pictures where all of them looking at the camera. That's homies hanging out. So you can't tell me he was homies with this dude and couldn't tell it out, and figure out what was going on with him? Like he didn't sneak in, he didn't like walk into a room and see something? Come on, man. That's disrespectful for anybody who has a fucking brain to think that you don't went to this man's island and you ain't never caught nothing. He even stated he likes them younger than me. That's saying something. Seeing as how you told a little like 10-year-old, not even that, 5-year-old, something like that, is it's maybe like 8-year-old, that in 10 years you're gonna be dating her. She's like 8. Even as a joke, that's disrespectful. Kind of pedo-ish. I don't believe she was 8. She's probably like 5, something like that. But still, regardless, even in a joking manner, that's disrespectful. So that's what Donald Trump is about. This man wants to be a dictator. And I don't care what anybody says that's going to try and say, oh, well, it's not really, but, it's not. You just kind of like hyperbole. Forget you. You are more or less trying to hide it because you don't want to admit you voted for him. The man is a complete and utter hypocrite. Did you guys see this fool? He was asked a question. I think he's either get on a plane or just got off the plane or something like that. And they asked him during a presser about, California stuff, whatever. And he goes on to talk about the insurrection, like it was going to be an insurrection there, blah, blah, blah. All this stuff. Don't mess with our officers and don't spit on our officers or we'll hit you and shit like that. Said some little phrase like that. All the while, this man just let go all those people at a real insurrection that was for him. The insurrection that he put together, organized, and sent them like wild attack dogs to harm, unalive, and possibly hang Mike Pence. He calls that a non-insurrection. It's a gathering. But then you got and destroy property, all that. Woman got unalived, all that because of him. Here, where there's no injuries, property had some problems. People were arrested. Majority of the people were peaceful. That's an insurrection. I love this because this was on MSNBC. Ari Melber, The Beat. It juxtaposed the issue as Donald Trump's talking about no insurrection. They have the insurrection right next to him. The hypocrisy in this picture and his statements is just astounding. Let's go and listen to it.
They spit, we hit. And I told them, nobody's going to spit on our police officers. Nobody's going to spit on our military, which they do as a common thing. They get up to them this far away and then they start spitting in their face. That happens, they get hit very hard.
I'll play it again.
They spit, we hit. And I told them, nobody's going to spit on our police officers. Nobody's going to spit on our military, which they do as a common thing. They get up to them this far away and then they start spitting in their face. That happens, they get hit very hard.
This man is talking about he cares about police officers. When he organized a insurrection, whereas soon after, multiple police officers were found either unalived or committed suicide or whatever due to this PTSD and all the different things like that. Many of them are going through PTSD. Some of them have retired because of this situation because it was so much to handle. They protected these people, these Republicans and Democrats. And it was all because Donald Trump sent attack dogs, these people who were rabid like animals, wild animals, climbing walls like apes, tearing down windows and shit and hitting stuff, stealing police equipment and bashing windows open. And then later saying they were invited in when in reality they went and came through the window and then opened the doors for the people. And the police officers just stood there. Because what is it? 3 officers and 75 people? You cap one of them, they're all going to run and try and take your gun and cap you. So the guys were logical. Made sense to just let it happen. But those people, they're saying they let them in. And Donald Trump and his people were saying that's the case. Just to some of them literally saying the day of these politicians, Republicans, were crapping their pants. running all over the place. Holly was running like a little girl, flying across a doorway. One of the guys saved the lives of some of the Republicans, saying, "Hey, look, go the other direction." And they come running out. These people did their jobs. These officers did their jobs above and beyond. One man had to support, had to unalive somebody, which had to be tragic. Didn't care about his mental health of him having to unalive a woman because she had breached the final doors before they could actually go in and try to unalive, which that's what they were saying. They were trying to unalive people. To unalive somebody. He protected the ultimate protection, taking the life of somebody to protect somebody else's. He didn't come to work that day thinking he's going to have to pull his weapon and take somebody's wife or husband or daughter. But nobody cared about his mental health. These people were trying to blame him for unaliving people, murder, and he like it's premeditated. That he didn't have the right as an officer to pull his gun on someone trying to breach the final door that they done put all kinds of barriers on. Had they gotten through, it would be no doubt that some, either Republicans or whom they thought was traitors, or Democrats would have probably been held hostage or unalived. And because they couldn't complete their task, they're like, oh, we wouldn't have done that. You didn't get to your location because these officers did it. But outside, you stomped officers. You took the gun of one officer and was about to shoot him until he said, "I have children." Then you stopped. Helped that he was a white man at that. Had he been probably a black person or immigrant, they probably would have shot him anyway. Coming with flag poles with sharpened spear shit at the end of it and throwing it at people like it's a fucking Tarzan movie. Did all that. That's not an insurrection. People come with flags and saying, hey, we don't want this to happen because it's a lot of brown people and white people together. Pretty sure there's some sparing black people in there that didn't listen to the black call to keep your black ass home. I'm sure there was some. And they try to make it an insurrection. Dying to make it a both sides thing. They have an insurrection. We had an insurrection. We didn't arrest them, so, we justified not arresting these people. Nobody's blind, deaf, and dumb here. We saw what we saw. We heard what we saw. We heard what we was looking at. We had the audio to it. This shit ain't made up. This shit's real. And you can look at what's going over here in LA. This shit's real, but it's not a resurrection. Not resurrection. Insurrection. Not at all. Nowhere near it. But they want you to believe that. Please don't believe the hype. Go look at the video. Go look at a map and see how big California is. Go look at what area they were in and see what square foot or area that they were in. Then you'll see how small it was compared to how they tried to make it seem huge. It's just disrespectful to think that people are this stupid. And the thing is, it's scary that some people, too many people, believe without doing any homework to validate the reality and invalidate this stupidity. Donald Trump tried to make people believe that there was an insurrection. And the more the people out there doing what they're doing peacefully, you'll prove them wrong. Knuckleheads, you're going to prove them right. I suggest if you're going to be out there, if you see anything going and anybody talking nonsense or bringing a rock or whatever, talk them down or record yourself telling them that this is not what we came here for, and put that out so that we can promote that and say it's a minority. But even at the same time, leave. The moment one of these knuckleheads does something, leave. Disperse. Because you don't want to be labeled what society is going to label you. when it wasn't about that. Some people say sit down and be peaceful and don't do anything. Stop protesting. That's for safety in the moment. But that's not guaranteed because these are hotheads out in the streets in riot gear. They're hotheads. They're trained to fight. They're trained to do this. And not all of them, but some of them are so gung-ho that they're ready to fight. They came to fight. They're going to instigate it if it doesn't start on its own. They're going to start moving you back for no fucking reason just so that you can start a fight. You're like, I didn't do anything. I'm just sitting here. And they're going to come up and kick you because they're starting to fight. And then saying, I told her to move, she didn't move. When in reality, they never did. They may have did 40, 60 feet away. You would have never heard that. Then come up and kick you. These people are considered our daughters and brothers and sons and wives. But when they're in that uniform, they're robots. They do what they're told. They're attack dogs. They don't pay attention to you as being a citizen, as a regular person. It's just like when you have dogs fighting or any other animal, cockfighting, whatever it is, you get them amped up and angry enough. They don't see you. They see red. They should. In fact, I think they should stand down. But they won't. Because that's who owns them. Whomever has the remote control telling them what to do, they do it. Now you done heard, and you made it, and I heard of different retired military people who said they've been getting calls from military men and women asking these retired generals and anything like that, because they can't ask their rank and file because they're still under Donald Trump. They've been asking them on the low, how do I disobey an unlawful order without being court-martialed, without having to go to jail? How do I go about that? I've never thought about how to implement that. It's not like something I was really taught, but I was told not to be able to do things that are unlawful. Well, how do I do that? And how do I determine what's unlawful? I'm not a lawyer. So generals are educating some of our military men and women, retired ones, on how they have to react if they're given an unlawful order by this dipshit orange president. They should not be in that position at all as well. But they are. Does that sound like a democracy to you? No, it doesn't. And that's the scary part. We got to keep focusing on that. Now, Donald Trump is planning, let me get you guys a message here. He is planning a parade. Yeah. Planning a parade coming up here soon. And that parade is going to be on, I think, his birthday. I forget what it is. Is it the 15th or something like that? I don't know if it's going to be Saturday. What day is it? Maybe it's the 14th. This coming up Saturday. All those military things are going to be there. And insane on what they're planning on doing. And this is what's going on. Whereas they're going to bring all these military things here, tearing up the streets in Washington, D.C. for this man's birthday, which makes absolutely no sense because I don't get this. This is something that really kind of irks me, right? We're going to have this fascist military parade, right? On Donald Trump's birthday to celebrate our military. Now, I don't know if you guys have heard. He has, not only is it going to cost us, like they said, 47, it's been all kind of numbers. The last number I saw was 47 million, 47 something crazy. I think it said 47 million. But it was like, you know, way higher than that before. So I don't know what it's going to be, but $47 million taxpayer money. That's to put on the parade, not the reparations of it all. Because these things, these tanks and stuff like that, they're going to destroy the streets. So we're going to have to, however long it take these things to come down the street, it's going to destroy the street. We're going to have that repaired afterwards. So it's going to be more than 47 million. He wants to have this military celebration of all the military uniforms that we've ever had in America. They've changed styles. He's putting together a production for his birthday. Also, he's threatening anybody who protests his birthday that he's going to do something to them. Their First Amendment rights, he's trying to tell them, you can't do that on my birthday. No First Amendment rights. The Constitution is out the window on his birthday, which is just bullshit. Then, like I said, because of the military, he's already ordered up 1,500, I think it is, uniforms that represent the different uniforms American military has had. I'm guessing this goes with all of our military, whether it be, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine, Special Forces, and things of that nature. Anything that has to do with military stuff. National Guard, probably, all of them. But 1,500, that's an addition to the 47 million that they're talking about that's supposed to cost. He's calling for retired military people to put on these old uniforms that he just had made. Not their own uniform. No, designs that he's going to have made. And if he can't get them, he's hiring actors to play military people in military uniforms. Highly disrespectful. You shouldn't have on a military uniform, a real one, unless you was in it. You telling me you want the world to see a bunch of actors in our military? Not the real military, the might of our military. No, you want to put on a show so you can show your other dictatorship friends, look what I did to America. I destroyed it and made it a dictatorship, or at least look like one. Got to fake it to make it. And he's going to have probably drones and everything recorded. He's going to try and make it a whole production. It would be less American. It would put a stigma on our own military. I know they can't deny having to do this. They have to do whatever order. They're not free thinking in that situation. But looking at that as an American, it's disgusting. There's no reason for us to be doing this. And what's so crazy about it is Donald Trump wants to seem so superior. He's putting together something like this last minute. How do you think it's going to look compared to all the other people who have done this? France does it, Bastille Day or something like that, and Russia does it, and other countries are doing it that are dictatorships of that nature, or at least celebrating a part of their history that they used to do, whatever. But they've been known to do this forever. You're going to look like shit compared to them because they've been doing it forever. Their first ones probably weren't that great. Your first one's going to look like trash compared to that. How are you going to compare? America's military is going to look weak because they're going to compare it to every military around the world. Like, that's the American military? Really? That's America. Thought they was the most powerful. They don't produce worth a damn, I guess, but that's the most powerful you got. Nah, we good. I don't know about you, but I'm protesting it. I am not watching that shit for nothing. The hardest thing that this man's going to have after this is to find out that he had the worst ratings of something like this that any of these things have ever had. Nobody tuned in, which they're going to have millions of these dipshits turning in, but nobody turned in or tuned into it. It says to him, America doesn't want this shit. We don't want to see another one. Do not make these ratings good because this fool will do this every year. You make these ratings good, this will happen every freaking year. We don't want that. So these ratings have got to suck. Put that out there. Let people know these ratings have got to suck. We have got to make this a loser. Because Americans that I know, we don't want this. We love having the type of power we have and the type of country we have where we don't walk the streets and see military weapons. It is uncalming. It is not the country we want to get used to seeing that. And Donald Trump wants a dictatorship. And if you agree to that shit, you'll see that type of military power in every state. If anybody disapproves of anything this man does, he's already talking about arresting governors and mayors of liberal states just because they don't agree with him. He literally said that that the governor of California, needs to be imprisoned. And they said, why? Because he ran for governor. So now you're talking about arresting people who are opponents to Republicans in powerful positions? Sounds dictatorish to you? Does to me. We have to figure out something, ladies and gentlemen. The things we need to figure out is how we're going to do something about it. And everybody knows I've been working on stuff, the project, Infinity. But I told you yesterday that I've been working on something for like a petition for one to get a lot of people talking about wanting to save democracy, actions that we need to do as Americans, because I know everybody's like, what can we do? What can we do? What I'm organizing is a new way. Again, like I said, I don't have a problem with failing. I'll put it out there. But a new way to protest, a more peaceful way, a more, I think, powerful way. And the vision is not to, like I said, even grandma can come out and enjoy a part of it. Let me just give you a backstory of what I envisioned, okay? Now, again, I don't care if you don't like it or not. You can tell me in the comments, whatever. But I grew up in Indiana. I was born in 1970, so I grew up in the 70s and 80s, of course. And I grew up in a pretty, it was pretty much all black neighborhood. We had one white family. That was until I got into 6th grade. Then I went to an all-white school, which was mixed at this time because we were there. But anyway, in that community that I grew up in, and people who've known me for a minute know, my next-door neighbor's name was Mr. Hagan. As a kid, I knew that. And one of the things I learned from him is responsibility as a child. I was probably no more than 8. He also taught me who friends really are and who friends really aren't. So I'll go through it a little bit. When I was little, next door neighbor, Mr. Hagan, had a strawberry patch in his backyard. They had this little fences that had a little octagon or something like that, like circles and shit like that. As a little kid, you could put your hand through it and whatever. So me and my friend, we were in the back eating his strawberries. Through the gated fence or the wire fence. And my friend was facing this way, and I was facing like toward the camera, like I'm facing toward. Well, Mr. Hagan was behind us. And there's a garage right there next to that. White garage, I'll never forget it. We had a big tree behind us. So my friend turned around, looked at me, right? Then looked up. And I'm like, and he was scared shitless. I don't know what he was looking at, right? I'm thinking something maybe in the tree or whatever. And I'm looking at what's going on. Didn't say a word. Dropped the strawberry and the backyard went over, jumped a fence. It was somebody's big backyard, jump another fence. And about 3 fences, you're near the projects. So, or at least in the neighborhood right before the projects. And so he took off, he bolted. Now this is my house. Where the fuck I'm going to run to? I can't go that way because that's my house, and whatever he just saw is that way. So I just stood there frozen. I looked at the shadow on the garage. There's this huge figure behind me. I'm little, right? I'm on my knees, with strawberries in my hand. And he said, he knew my name, and my name is Andrew, but everybody called me Drew or Andy or whatever it was back then. And he called my name, and instantly I knew it was him. I'm like, oh shit, I'm eating the strawberries, right? So then he told me to get up. And the first thing I'm thinking, because our parents back in those days gave our neighbors right to like whoop our ass, right? It's just real. And instead of whooping my ass, which he had every right to do because I was fucking his strawberry patch up, he pointed, he said, and this way I get my hand, he said, is that your friend? I said, yeah, that's my best friend. So he just left you here to deal with me. He didn't stick by your side. That's what you call a friend? That was the first time as a child I didn't understand, but then I realized, like, wait a minute. He did leave me. When I needed him the most, he was gone. So this man taught me what real friendship was. And who my real friend was Mr. Hagan. Because he was the one who took me under his wings. He didn't tell my mom I stole, because he knows she would whoop my ass for stealing strawberries. Instead, he said, you're coming over to my house every day, working in my garden after you finish your homework. Because he knew my mom was had 3 kids and she had to leave. So we couldn't even leave the house. I was a latchkey kid. So he was putting me under his wing, not to punish me, but to make me a better man, to understand what manhood was about. So he taught me responsibility, to work for what I wanted, not to take it. Taught me who a friend really was. It wasn't my friend whom I stopped hanging with. It was Mr. Hagan, who I hung with tight. Me and him sit on the back porch like old men. He didn't smoke. He didn't really drink at all. He just sat there and just talked about life. And it was crazy how I knew what he was talking about as a child with a grown man who was a grandfather, right? But he spoke to me just like a man. None of this little child shit. Told me responsibilities. And I would tell my friends who weren't ready yet mentally to get there. I saw the difference between them. They were still like kid-minded, and I had a different type of mindset. He taught me that. And that's the thing I realized, is that what I just described to you was a village. My mom was my village. My next door neighbors were my village. He wasn't the only one that looked out for me. I had a neighbor 2 doors down, always had my back. Across the street, always had my back. Would walk past my house and ask me, just, how you doing? I'm good. Y'all want to come over for a barbecue next week? Sure. Always had my back. Never asked for anything. Always giving. Always loving. Always looking out. I saw a bike back there. I'm going to fix it up. You need a bike? Yeah, I have a bike. My brother got a bike. That's how it was. Today, it may be that in small cities and states. I don't know. But I knew in Indiana, by the time I was out of that community that I lived in and moved to a mixed community, we didn't know each other like that. I didn't know my neighbors. I knew like one neighbor across the way. I didn't know my next door neighbor or the other neighbor on the other side. That was in the 80s. It started. Then when it came to advent of social media, shit. Tell me your neighbor's name, your next door neighbor's first name and last name. You don't know it. Most of us, you don't know it. Tell me if you know more than, and if you're in an apartment complex, how many of the people in the 100 and something apartments do you know their name or their situation? And you didn't have to listen to the wall or look out the window and find out for yourself. You actually got a conversation with them. How many of the neighbors you see them cut grass, you say something to? It is very rare. It is very rare. So when Donald Trump, in this situation, and what I'm saying, he's trying to divide us. The way we unite is we get to know our neighbors. The way we unite is that we start off by doing something that shows solidarity. And the vision that I've been having is getting to know our neighbors. The reason why is because the advent of social media made us not neighborly, right? It kind of like destroyed the social part of society. It became social, just became media side of it, getting to know you via this apparatus. Getting to know your neighbors, and those are the people who can affect your lives. Those are the people that are looking out for you and say, I got a job open for you if you're looking for a job. Those are the people that know that your mom's sick and will bring over food, or know that you're sick and bring over soup. Those are the people that are really going to do something. Those are the people who are gay, bi, trans, and can give you a better understanding of what gay, bi, and trans people go through and what kind of people they actually are, so that you can't believe the hype of the bullshit that people try to spew to you, because you know next door neighbor, Tammy, who used to be Tom, is a wonderful ass person. And you don't believe the hype that people tell you because you have an example of it. And you like or love that person because they are good people. See, they divide you amongst what you don't know, what you fear, what you have questions about. And the best way to even heal that is to ask said people the questions. Break the barrier of the ignorance, the anger, the frustration, the not knowing, and educate yourself with an open mind. You don't have to like somebody's lifestyle to like them. You don't need to know what they do in their bedrooms and not whatnot. That's a little too much. What you can know is that, look, that's true love. That's true love. With them, it's true love. It's not made up. Hear the stories of their life, the shit they have to go through to live like this. Ask yourself, would you change who you are so that you, if somebody wanted to beat you because of who you are, would you change who you are? Or would you say like, oh, I'm just being, it's just like my decision to be this. If somebody wants to whoop my ass because of it, I'll change who I am. You didn't wake up one day and say you were straight. You didn't. You never chose it. So why do other people choose who they are? Just the logical part of this thing. Asking people, educating yourself, and stop thinking that you know every damn thing based off what you see as opposed to what you hear from people who are living that life. People who were born this way. The more we're educated, the better we are to our neighbors. The more educated we are, the less we listen to hateful people spew shit that is based off of bullshit or fear or anger. You can't infiltrate me with bullshit when I know a good person that's trans. You can't infiltrate me and say trans people are this and in sports and blah, blah. I'm like, please. Instead of trying to find a solution, you're just trying to live in the problem. As many times as I've heard people say, like these hateful people on the right, MAGA people, the fear that they put in people's minds, who just for people who just don't understand something different than straight, right? Don't want to understand it, stuck in their ways. So they bring up something, oh, they're in sports, and you're like, dude, out of the millions of people or children playing sports, you're talking about 14 people. 14 people. I'm pretty sure amongst these people, there is a bigger issue than trans, but you're choosing trans because you don't know anything about it. And when people say, oh, yeah, you know, the this and the that, I'm like, there are so many ways to solve this other than hate. There's so many ways to solve it. For instance, if you really wanted to live on the love side of things and stop living on the hate side of things, when you heard like, okay, there's a girl who's pissed off that she lost in a particular battle, whatever it may be. And let's say if it's racing, running, that's one thing. Boxing, I get. If that person's gonna be stronger than you, I understand that type of situation. But if you're talking about running in a race and they're faster, or swimming in a race and they're faster than you, just because of the body of a man stronger, I get having a fear being pissed off that you could never win and that person could win a gold or whatever because you're going up against a male body figure that used to be male but is female now. It's like, instead of having hate and disgust and anger, why not say, hey, look, to make this fair, we swim and see how much faster you are than me as women. If you are like 30 seconds ahead of these women because of your body make and you are a woman now, then give them a set 0. So it's like you're 30 seconds faster than the fastest woman. Then your time is minus 30. You're even now. If there was love in your heart, the even part would have came up. But there's no love in your heart when you just think about the fact of, no, because you used to be a man. Do you not know that they knew that they used to be what they used to be and how they felt, that they was always in the wrong body? You don't have to keep telling them what they already fucking know and feel and have went through so much therapy to finally come out and be whom they feel and have always been, but life had gave them a whole different other make. And to finally come home to what they call home, you don't have no say-so where their home is. You can accept it, deny it, but to hold them back is not an option. And that's what these people are doing, trying to hold people back because it doesn't fit in your narrative. There's a way to fix it in love. But see, you choose hate to say you don't want to be around them. You know, they don't have a disease. They ain't trying to transform you or your children. They're trying to live their life. And you should celebrate them living their lives, not try to harm them or disrespect them or just because you feel uncomfortable. We should learn from the past so that we make it better. I'm always honest about who I am, who I was. I used to be homophobic as fuck in my early 20s because I had never seen it, never witnessed it. And when I got hit on, it scared the living shit out of me. I'll never forget it. I got hit on at a Bank of America in California, like 23 years old. It was scary and funny at the same time. I made a joke out of it. I was like, I can't believe this guy. What the fuck is this? But I was scared. I was like, what the fuck is going on? Because he would not leave me alone. Okay? Young man coming from Indiana in California, had never witnessed gay. It scared the shit out of me. But see, that was my problem, not his. Right? And so when I found that out, I realized, you know what? So what? So what? No big deal. But that fear is what causes problems. That same situation could have ended in certain people's minds into a fight, could have ended into somebody losing their life. But when you look at it, it's like, that ain't nothing but somebody thought you looked good and they wanted to approach you. You didn't say you were straight. You said you were straight. It's over. Let it fucking go. It doesn't say anything about you at all, other than the fact of how you reacted. That's the only thing that says about you. I had to learn that. That's why I learned that a long time ago. And when I started seeing trans, which I had never seen up until like, I'd seen it, but I didn't know anything about it. And it wasn't really into my life. I'm like, live life. I don't care. But when it got into my life, I'm like, now I understand it. It's easier to accept. Easy. Say, oh, be what you want to be. It's cool. How does it change your life? None at all. People fear things, they want to destroy it. I don't fear anything. I'm not trying to destroy anything, but I don't want to have anybody's life destroyed with this dictatorship that Donald Trump is trying to have. That I detest, and I will fight to the death for that. But letting Americans live, that's what this country is about. Stealing somebody's dream is not, even though we've had people do it, it's not what we want. It's not what people who came here bought into. So That's the way I look at it. That's the way I look at it. So, I see Rude, you said, didn't care if somebody wanted to be trans. I didn't know how to act around trans people. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Again, like I said, here's one, like again, this is the part about being truthful and opening and growing is that I didn't, it wasn't even before trans. It was, like I said, gay. I didn't know anything about it. So I had to learn about it, what it meant, how it meant, you know what I'm saying? Because as a person who's straight, you start to, do I attract gay people? You start feeling like, oh, does he know something I don't know? It kind of freaks you out, right? And then it's like, well, and you start to learn. This is when I was younger, but now it's a situation like again, before trans, it was for me, it was pronouns. I was like, what the hell is this? You know what I'm saying? What's the pronoun game? What's this all about? He, him, her, they. I had no idea. My kids was telling me about this stuff, and I'm like, what are you talking about? Pronouns. But instead of like fighting it, I just, what do you want to be called? If I'm gonna say them or they, was I'm them. Okay, I'm them. I try to remember you're them, but I'll let you know. I'm gonna fuck it up. It ain't nothing against you. I'm gonna fuck it up, but I ain't gonna not stop trying. That's all I can ask. That's all I can tell you is I'm gonna try, and I do my best. I'm gonna mess it up every once in a while until I'm around somebody long enough. Then I'll know. And you got to give people that type of leeway to do it, not go off on people because they mess it up. You know what I'm saying? That's the way I look at it. Now, if they make it funny you messing it up, that's a whole different story. But if they're trying and they're forgetting, it's something new. You got to give people time to grow into it, especially if they're trying. But yeah, and then when it came to like trans, I didn't know any different. You know what I'm saying? And to learn more about the process and have people you know and love go through it, you start to understand it even more, right? And it's not easy because again, everything that's different. But here's the point: it's not about you. That's what I love about this whole process is that it's not about you. It's about that person. Whatever they're going through, it's them. It's not you. You are a small factor in it. It's like if you really are living from that love aspect of life, loving on them and trying to see where they're coming from and how you can make their life as simple, just like they spent their entire life trying to make everybody else seem, to keep it simple, whatever. That's the work they had to do. The work as a human being who cares about people, period, is that around you, you want to keep everybody comfortable. You're not in a situation of doing whatever they want. It's just like no disrespect. Everybody around you should feel respected, no matter who they are, right? And so that's what I do. I treat everybody like I want to be treated, and I ask questions. If it's annoying, I'm sorry, but if I ask the questions, then I know better. Then I'm educated. Then I know how to act and how to treat people, not like they're victims, not like they're, afflicted with some kind of disease or something. It's just learning. And if people can give you that leeway to learn, it's a beautiful thing. I know you're going to run into some people who are just going to be hot-headed about it and want you to learn like on the spot. That's their problem. You need to learn at your pace, but be in the mindset of, I want to be open to figure out how to figure it out, right? But I treat anybody like that. Like if I see somebody who's mentally ill, I don't treat them like they're a patient. I treat them just like anybody else. And I think, I don't know what it is, but I've always been like that. Even with my kids, I never did that, goo goo gaga and wah wah, whatever the shit. I talked to my kids like they were college kids. My ex used to be mad. Talk to them like this. I'm like, nah, I don't want my kid growing up talking like that. Now, you can do that all you want, but I ain't doing it. So I didn't have those moments of listening to do that. I literally talked to them like grown men and women. Even though they were my kid, I kiss them and say stuff like little kid stuff like that. But when it came to teaching them stuff, it's a dissertation. It wasn't none of that. It was big words and everything. And I account for my kids, to be honest, as smart as my kids are. I believe a part of it, not all of it, it's their hard work, is never talking down to them, always talking to them like they were already at the level in which I wanted them to be. And I was as educated as possible, right? And everybody's gonna make mistakes. Nobody's gonna be perfect, but I just wanted that. If I was gonna do anything, I was gonna be able to give him that leg up in some way, shape, or form. But that was just me, you know what I'm saying? But those are the things that I wanted to implement. But for us as American citizens, the thing I thought about us doing, and again, you don't have to like it, is that village I spoke of, we need to bring that back. And what I mean by that is, I told you I was going to do a petition is one. I'm working on that. The other one is I want an organized date in which all across America and hopefully across the country, in different countries, I think there should be a day that we lock in. And what I mean by that is not protesting in the street where cops will come and act insane, but protesting just outside your home. Walking outside your door with you and your family and kids and locking arms with your neighbors in solidarity to democracy. I don't know if any of you guys have ever applied or was in or are part of a fraternity or sorority. And one of the things I remember, I didn't go all the way through it because me and my fraternity, we had issues. But what I remember going through it and being hazed, that's all right though, was that we would lock arms. And as we locked arms side by side, that bond was never to be broken, right? And they would get the biggest person in the fraternity, the football player, the dude that was probably headed to the NFL in the group, and we lock arms tight as we could next to each other, and this big bull of a human would run smack dead into us and try and break the bond. And if they could, then you was in trouble. You had to do certain things, run a mile, whatever, hang upside down, do crunches, whatever crazy crap they can come up with. But the idea of having that bond, of linking arms in solidarity for democracy, and having that unified, having drones and having the news in every city and state, and also your own social media camera, it's twofold. One is to show the world how many of us are in solidarity with keeping democracy and against Donald Trump and this thing that he's calling whatever. That is to keep that solidarity, that we don't believe in the bullshit that they're spewing, and we're against that. And also having slogans about things like that, saying that we're united, or hold the line for democracy, and to don't let Donald Trump break us, right? In addition to that, it's bringing back village, because our neighbors are coming out and linking arms and talking and connecting and knowing each other and fighting for the same things. We understand that some neighbors are not going to show up, but what will show up is that when you see walking outside your house that you got neighbors all down the street, all linking arms for democracy, that's a big picture. There's nothing that the cops can destroy. There's nothing that the military need to be deployed. It's love more than anger or anything else. It's love for democracy. It's love for humanity. And it's getting to know your neighbors once again, because then we become a village, not only in your city or state, but the entire United States becomes united around wanting America to be a democracy. And how beautiful would it be to see people in France, in different parts of the world, in Africa, all linking arms on the same day for solidarity, for democracy, and for United States to come back to being the country that they all thought we were, and that the citizens actually are. Our leadership just isn't. That to me would be a big statement. Now, you guys can think about that all you want, but I'm working on that right now. The slogans, the t-shirts, the designs, and things of that nature, I am working on it. I got a lot of things going, but I'm trying to pick a date in the future so it can have some time to promote this and put it out there, make some viral content. The most beautiful thing about it is that in your city, in your state, I would love for each one of you to interview one of your own neighbors to find out certain questions that we're going to push out for people to ask questions of their neighbors and about democracy and about, how they feel about being in solidarity. One thing I saw like a video, and you guys may have seen it on social media, and it wasn't about like this, but it was all about experiences. And sometimes people want to have an experience and they have no problem spending a lot of money on it or traveling for it or whatever. They just want to have that experience. And by having that, what we're doing is having a global experience, national at least. But if we do these things more than once during this man's presidency, it shows that the majority of this country doesn't want him. It shows these pictures that gets ratings that we don't want you. It speaks that our politicians, they're going to have to join arms with us, because if you're not for us, you're against us. If you're not for democracy, you're against it. We start to actually do something, and it doesn't take you traveling anywhere else but to the front of your house and link arms with your neighbors who believe the same as you. Or even in the nearest neighborhood, if you live on a farm and it's so far apart from people, the nearest city, whatever it may be, in a place of like near in front of a church or a school, somewhere calm, so that these people will not be able to deploy anybody. And plus, if it's happening in every state at the same time, what are you doing? What are they going to do? They're going to make us all look bad? No, it's too big. It's not something they can stop. And if we do it on days that represent like the Constitution, represents like July 4th, represents something in this country, and there's multiple days like that throughout the year, we'll be able to have a message that's sent that I think the movement will build bigger, because we're not having to travel anywhere except for outside our homes, and understand that our communities is where we need to do most of our work. Is where we have our loved ones. It's where we want our daughters and sons and family members to be safe. And that's how a powerful movement starts. So yeah, so that's what I'm working on. Anything else, we'll see. Now, what else do we got here? I know people are speaking, and I want to look at it. I want to thank my members for being here. Love you guys. Let's see if I got. There we go. That's not showing up. Does it show up? No. I see Alice early. What's going on? Rooting the Planet Janet, thank you as well for being here. Let's see what else we got. Kristen, always a pleasure. Let's see what else. DJ, thank you for being here. I appreciate you. Let's see what else we got. Those, I think is that all the members? No. Let me see. Give love. Hope everybody's having a good day outside of the news, but with your families, friends, loved ones. I'm still traipsing through here to find everybody. I think that's it. Thanks for all the regulars showing up. I appreciate you. If I didn't say your name, I'm getting to the top now. I think that's everybody who is members. You're welcome, Kristen. Thank you. I appreciate you. What's up, Harry Price? One love, brother. Oh, you're welcome, Vera. So those are the things that I plan on doing. I'm a history buff, so I knew a lot of this stuff, but she handles it so well. Trans, homosexual, biblical. Oh, yeah, most definitely. People deserve to live their lives with the dignity of grace and liberty. Human rights need to evolve into education. 100%, Alice. Yeah, I hate it too, Rude. It's happening all over. But we have to come together as a family of people who want this country to live up to its absolute potential. I mean, this is one of the greatest countries, right? We don't been through a lot, but we don't want to go back. We want to move forward. This country could get so much better, not by going backwards, but by going forwards. We don't need to, turtle this thing. We need to put on a jetpack and take us into the future. And that's going to take us to stop listening to hate. It's going to take us to stop listening to division, realizing that everybody getting opportunities to be able to be all they were created to be. There's no competition, none of that crap. In sports, yes, but in life, no. We don't need to compete. What we need to do is just work our butts off at what we're good at, what we were blessed to be able to be creative with, and work on that, and be able to provide a service with whatever it is that we're good at, what we're brilliant at. Many people may not know what they're brilliant at. That's because probably people never told you. Either that, or you weren't listening, or you humbled yourself out of it. Many of us are overly humble. We'll say, oh, everybody can do what I can do. It's not true. You are the only person who can do what you do like you do it. There are many artists out there. There are many athletes out there. There are many businesses out there. None of them run the exact same way. Everybody brings their brilliance to the table, their way. It's just that this country really hasn't given people, certain groups of people, hardly any opportunity, and then others have been hindered, and then others have been catapulted. And if we can be able to foster something that helps us all, and people know what I'm doing, being able to help us all get paid by shopping and getting paid for everything that we purchase through people, and not have to be a salesman or salesperson. Just buy and stay within your budget. We can work better with financial literacy. We could create opportunities for us and our families just living within our budgets. We can be able to invest in one another, to be able to create generational wealth for those who are bright in certain things. Like you may be bright in cooking. People can help each other out and start your business or invest in your business. There's so much that good people can do to help good people. And as long as we're in this together and know that we don't have to rely on billionaires, we can do it ourselves. There's great power in numbers. If we keep thinking that we're alone, that's the reason why we don't see the power we actually hold. Our power is in numbers, right? If there's 1 million of us and we see somebody who has an excellent business or let's say an app that we would literally use, that would make our lives better, just donating $1 gives them 1 million to be able to do it. Or even investing $100, right, gives them 100 million to be able to. You have $100 of stock, and it's very easy in numbers. But when we're alone and we think that we're alone and it's me against the world and not we, that's why you feel alone. That's why billionaires are separate from you, because you can't unify to help each other. You keep looking for those who don't want to unify because they have gathered all this money by underpaying you, by charging you way more than what things are worth, and then telling you you're too lazy, you should do what they do. It's just not in your heart to rob people. For them, is what they live for. So we need to get invested by those snakes. But instead, those of us who aren't snakes, those of us who want value, we can start creating things together, unified. And this thing I call partners. And we're partners in life, we're partners in democracy, and we're partners in humanity. So those are the types of things of being able to exclude the billionaire and go straight to the source, get rid of the middleman and woman, and go directly to each other. And we can be able to turn this thing around. Capitalism that cares is way better than the capitalism that fucks everybody over to get ahead. These people look down on poor people. We look at them as an opportunity to spread love and positivity and be able to lift them, because if you lift them, you lift yourself. Simple as that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm due to go get something to eat. I do this because I love it. I love the truth. I love the facts. And above all, I love people. I've been that way in my entire life. The reason why I'm so hard on people when it comes to lies, because you can't love anybody if you can look them in the face and lie to them. That's not love. That's a certain type of disdain, a version of hate, that you can look me in my face and lie to me for your own personal gain. If you can look at me and love me and tell me the truth, even if it hurts, that right there is unconditional love. People say it's not possible. It is possible to unconditionally love somebody. Tell them the truth, even if it's painful, even if they don't like you when you tell them it. If they're not ready or willing to accept the truth, then they love living in a lie, not you. That's something they got to deal with. But that's what I do. I tell the truth. Why? Because I don't like being lied to. Because lying to me means you don't care about me, that you would rather F me over than help me out. And I look at it like I wouldn't do that to you, and I don't expect you to do it to me. And if we can build that type of foundation, just think how great this world would be if we had a foundation of facts and truth. Because with facts and truth comes love. You can't love me if you can look at me and lie to me. So when MAGA lies with a straight face, it's filled with hate. There's no way they can love you and lie to you. And that goes for anybody, even Republican or Democrats or independents. If you can't tell the truth, then you're not here for the right reasons. Work on that. And I'll continue to work on putting us back together and making us a village again and having people give a damn about people. And that's the way I look at it. You may agree, you may not, but I'm working on this entire thing so that we can have a day, at least one, if it works out well, where we all lock arms, lock in, and for democracy. So if you're interested, let me know in the info at straightfactsnochaser.com, and we'll try and figure some stuff out. I can't do it by myself, but I work my damnedest to make it work by myself. But we're gonna need people in every community. We have leaders in every community that are going to be leaders that get this thing organized in your city, in your state, in your community. We're not going to deal with cities so much. We're going to deal with state. So therefore, like the t-shirts would say Georgia, whatever, or California, or whatever it may be, so that we can be locked in for the state. Because, I'm not trying to get everybody's location or nothing like that. It's more like, we know the state is down for us. And if people later on decide, we want to lease out a city too, so they can represent for, Los Angeles as opposed to San Francisco. We'll see. But it depends. You guys listen to it. You got the video. You can come back and check it out if you like. Let me know. Info at straightfactsnochaser.com. Not Mr. Info at straightfactsnochaser.com. All right. You really love someone, you love them regardless of whatever. 100% Rude. Thank you, DJ. I know you never would. You would never do that. But it can happen. Yes, Rude. All right, ladies and gentlemen, as I always say, first of all, I love y'all. We're going to make it through this if we stay together, if we unite for democracy. And that's what I'm going to keep on trying to do. These are the solutions I think that we need to work on. Whether it's successful, whether it fails, whatever, we got to try. The goal is to win it. The goal is to sustain it and keep our democracy. We can't just sit around and do nothing. So we'll keep talking about it, keep growing it. I'm pretty sure I have something new to say about it tomorrow. I'll add something tonight because I'm working on all these things, all these different fronts at the same time. And most of y'all know, blackunity.com, Project Infinity, and this right here. All right? I'll talk to you guys. Hey, Mark, what's going on, brother? I didn't see you. Thank you for being here, brother. So I'll see you guys tomorrow 5:30 Pacific Standard Time. As always, I'll see you when I see you.